The first one is, are the colors rather warm or cold? Are they harmonious or contrasted between each other? Are they light or dark? Or maybe both together? Are they bright or dull? Let's take the concrete example of an underwater landscape. Looking at the colors, I can tell the overall impression is rather cold, rather range of blues. I see light and dark colors combined, and I see bright and dull colors combined. Now let's choose colors in this whole palette of color samples. Looking at my picture, the most harmonious combination would be a range of those blues. The monochromatic palette is extremely harmonious for the eye because you use the same color as a basis for all of them. My basis color is this one, the one we call a hue, a pure color. And if I add black, I get shades of this hue. And if I add white, I get tints of this hue. So that's my hue, those are shades, and those are tints. Looking at the picture again, we need to add some pastel hues for the areas where light is coming in through the water that are brighter than those ones. And then we need to add some greenish yellow or so for the vegetation, for the little plants that you see at the bottom of the picture. Now all we have to do to build our color palette is to play with the proportions until we have the feeling that's given by the mood board. So here I have more dark. I expand the dark areas. I have less of these extra bright blues. I barely have this color actually. I increase the light ones and I reduce the middle ones. Some like this. I have quite a lot of this one, and then I have the mix of this and this. So I'm gonna add them here. While I do that, I'm looking at the picture all the time to make sure I go in the right direction. And then I have those greenish things here. Those one, I don't have that much actually. I have a mix of those two, but really just slight notes. And to cover that up, I'm using a white one. And that's it. We have the color palette of the underwater picture. Now let's take a different example. I'm putting this aside. We are now looking at a more modern picture so that you can see the difference. For example, this graffiti on the street. Are the colors warm or cold? This time they're pretty warm. Are they harmonious or contrasted? They're quite contrasted. I really see dark colors I see differently. I'm going to pick my favorite 4 colors in this picture and play around with them. I have the red and the green, very bright neon colors from the graffiti itself. I have the sand color from the pavement, and I have this dark brown shade, very dark, from the shadowy and the dirty areas. Right now I'm going to make this color palette very neutral. I have equally much of each other 4 colors. But that's too bright compared to the actual picture. So we need to reduce the red and the green. I'm actually going to split them up because together they're too strong. I have more dark. I have really just little touches of green. I have quite a bit of sandy color. And I have just a slight bit of red. So that's actually closer to the proportions on my picture. You see that this mix is looking quite classic and quite conservative. Now if I switch the proportions, I get a much more modern color palette, which I'm doing here by making red and green much bigger, sand the smallest, and brown small. Let me switch it up. It's a lot of red, minimum of sand, because it was the one that I had most, less brown, and quite a lot of green. And now if you compare those 2 color palettes, proportion switched, that is looking quite rock and roll, doesn't it? So I switched the proportion, and I have something completely different, even though I'm using exactly the same colors. And that's the thing, by varying the proportion, you can actually make the exact same color palette look either classic and quiet, or very modern and really loud, depending on what you want for your collection. That's it for this video. I hope you liked it. If you want to learn more about color, let me know, because that's one of my favorite topics at all. For this